Hey everybody, good morning. It is John. Yep, there, okay. And I wanted to make a video this morning. It's Sunday morning here in Texas. It's really pretty. I'll do a picture of the garden in a second. But I wanted to make a video about my worm farm that Leela Gannon, it's actually Leela Gannon's worm farm that I guess she bequeathed to me when she moved back to New York. I wanted to mention one other thing first is that today in Texas we got news, I think 80 some odd babies have COVID down on the border. And the reason that they have COVID is community spread, and the reason for community spread is people aren't wearing masks. Doesn't matter what people have said in the past or did or didn't know or whatever, the reason for community spread is people aren't wearing masks. So it seems to me the most patriotic thing you can do is wear a mask. I wear one when I'm not at home, and frankly, don't go out much. I do a lot of stuff outdoors actually, because there's been no spread, community spread through kind of outdoor activity like tennis or golfing or walking or cycling. But when I'm shopping and all, I wear a mask. So this worm farm is made by, the farm itself was made by this company called Sacred Resources in Steamboat Springs. And I think the guy, what he's doing is he's taking timber that has died because the timber's been attacked by these beetles because of global warming, climate change. There isn't this hard freeze that they used to have in areas of the West. And so these beetles are surviving through the winter. And so this guy anyway is taking that wood that would be otherwise lost, and he's made these frames, and they nest really beautifully, and then the bottom one's got a metal tray. It wasn't that expensive. It might have been $100, maybe $150. You could only get 3 frames. You could start with 3. And so what I'm doing now, it's taken me a while to figure this out, but the worms eat cardboard and veg. And I don't put fruit in, I don't put bananas in, you don't put meat in, and then you keep it wet. And I put a little bit of peat moss, but not so much anymore. And I'll show you in the lower areas, it looks like it's just dirt, and it's not. It's worm castings, which I think is worm poop. So what I do is on the top frame, for 2 or 3 days, I take kitchen scraps and just put it on the top frame like this. And then, stick with me folks, and then I take the top frame and I move it to the bottom, and everybody comes up one. And I have them numbered, but if I do this right, it ends up a little too much maybe. It ends up working. So here we'll take the top frame out, set it aside, and then you can see the second frame. It's a little far away, but the second frame, if you look, it looks like it's just dirt, and it is partially peat moss, but it's mostly just cardboard and other stuff that the worms have eaten. And I can see there's no worms in here because there's no food, because this is the last one. They've all gone elsewhere. So I could take this and dump it out in the garden, which I'm not going to do. Instead, I'm going to fill it with some food. And then as I get down to the old last one, oh yeah, this is exciting. Here, let me give you a bit of a close-up if this works. I can't really tell, but this is just full of worms because 2 days ago this one was on top, so it's got all the yummy food. So I'm going to put this top one on the bottom and then restack them all in order. Like that, and it kind of squishes down, and the bottom of each one, I'll show you, is a wire mesh, so the worms can move from layer to layer. There we go. And this last one, which I was showing, has almost no worms in it because there's no food. But if you look on the bottom, see there's a wire mesh, so they can get around. And then in this one, I will start again. And so for 2 or 3 days, I'll put some food on here, and we'll fill it up with food, and it'll move back down. And then every few days I water it. The morning sun hits it, so I've got a cover to keep the morning sun out of it. Sacred Resources. And that's it. And I think this would be really fun. If you had kids, I think Julie Gannon should be selling these at the Toy Box in Hanover, Massachusetts. Give her a shout if you need any puzzles or games. You could buy like 2 or 3 frames. I think it'd be really fun for people who live in New England or cold places. You could start it in like late February. You could buy the worms from Florida. That's where they come from. Big Jim's Worm Farm, I think. And you could kind of fill it up all through the summer. And then in October or early November, you could dump all the dirt out in your garden, and the worms, they would all dig in and spend the winter, and then start again a year later, or 6 months later. But anyway, it's just been really fun, and I take care of it every day. It's something I do. It's amusing. It takes the kitchen scraps. And that's it. That's the worm farm. So I hope everybody's having a great Sunday. And remember to wear a mask. And the best thing you can do for Americans, babies, adults, old people, all of us, the most patriotic thing you can do is to wear a mask. So anyway, have a great Sunday. See y'all.